Hey there, fellow wanderers. Imagine stepping softly into the shadowed corridors of Knossos, where the quiet murmur of forgotten voices seems to echo against the ancient stone walls. The air is slightly cool, carrying with it a faint scent of earth and history combined, like parchment left in the sun for too long. It's as though each step you take disturbs dust that hasn't been moved in centuries, a thin veil that obscures stories buried in time. The weight of the moonless night outside presses in, yet within, the darkness cradles you, enfolding you like a long-lost secret. This is no fanciful tale spun by whimsy. It is the raw truth, whispering mysteries as timeless as the myths themselves. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in ancient times, even survival was a luxury. As you take a mental step back to the sprawling ruins of Knossos, you can almost hear the distant echoes of sandals scuffing against stones once polished with purpose. Imagine the sight. An expansive, multi-storied complex sprawling beneath the Cretan sun, walls painted with vibrant scenes of sea, sky, and festivity. You can feel the rhythm of life that once throbbed through its halls, where generations of Minoans laughed, lived, and plotted under the gaze of the omnipresent sun. Knossos isn't just crumbling stone and legend. It's a tapestry woven with the life and labor of an era that predates the well-trodden tales of Greek gods. Its tall, looming columns and airy spaces evoke a time when architecture was as much about dreams as it was about shelter. Here, for instance, we have a historical fact. Knossos is widely considered Europe's oldest city, a title that hints at its rich, layered past each stratum more intriguing and perplexing than the last. It's fascinating to ponder how people once strolled in these sun-drenched courtyards, wrapped in bright, patterned robes that mirrored the kaleidoscopic frescoes surrounding them. Perhaps a hint of olive oil or rich incense wafted through the air, giving life to the senses. It's these small sensory details that shrink the vast chasm of time, making you feel less like a stranger peering in and more like a forgotten participant of this ancient grandeur. Among the labyrinthine passages, one quirky tidbit often surprises the uninitiated. Knossos sported one of the first known flushing toilet systems. Imagine that, a glimpse of modernity amidst the antiquity. How the Minoans crafted elaborate plumbing systems sophisticated enough to rival those of much later civilizations speaks volumes about their innovative spirit. Perhaps they prioritized comfort and hygiene above many contemporaries, a quaint revelation nestled amid tales of mystery and grandeur. Historians still argue whether the magnificence of Knossos can be attributed solely to its idyllic climate and fertile surroundings, or if there was some enigmatic force at play behind its rise and dominance in the Aegean. Could it be the strategic location, perched gracefully at the crossroads of maritime trade routes, that gifted it such prosperity, or perhaps a blend of both, a perfect storm of ingenuity and opportunity? The debate, much like the ruins, endures. And here we stand today, the moon hidden behind a curtain of clouds, taking in these echoes of a once great civilization. Knossos, with its stories etched invisibly into stone, remains a paradoxical enigmaboth, a remnant of grandeur and a symbol of human transience. It holds a mirror to our own fleeting place in the grand mosaic of history, a quiet reminder that empires rise and fall, only to whisper their legends to those who will listen. As we delve deeper into the labyrinthine heart of these ancient halls, allow the pulse of Knossos to blend seamlessly with the soft rhythm of your breath. Step by step, let the allure of its mysteries guide you deeper into realms of wonder, where history's whispers grow louder and more compelling. Prepare, dear listener, as the mysteries of Knossos are about to unfold, wrapping you in tales more vivid than you could ever imagine. Let these ancient whispers guide you to a place of rest, leaving behind shadows of the past, as you drift softly into the cradle of sleep. As you continue your journey through the mystical and meandering pathways of Knossos, one legend stands out, an intricately spun tale that has captured the imaginations of generations. The Labyrinth. In your mind's eye, try to visualize the maze, its walls shifting under perpetual twilight, with shadows playing tricks on the eye. The Minotaur is lurking in the heart of these corridors, half man, half beast, a terrifying hybrid birthed from mythology. But as you trail your fingers along the cool stone, you begin to question, is this labyrinth just a fantasy? Peeling back these legendary layers uncovers the truth that lies beneath the myth. Picture the sprawling palace complex, its layout a bewildering web of rooms and corridors interconnected in ways that could easily confuse and disorient even the cleverest architect. This very structure has led some to speculate whether the idea of a labyrinth, with its connotations of chaos and confusion, emerged naturally from Knossos' unique design. It's a thought that hushes the shadows. Maybe the labyrinth wasn't a singular myth-born construct, but rather a poetic exaggeration of the palace itself. Historically, the labyrinth symbolizes journeys and trials, and its deeper meaning reverberates within the human experience. It's a metaphor for life, the unknowns we navigate, the paths we choose, the monsters we face. The notion that Daedalus crafted such a perplexing structure to house the Minotaur speaks to the awe-inspiring and somewhat terrifying power attributed to the mythical architect. However, historians often debate whether Daedalus was even involved or whether clever politics and storytelling strategically woven by the elite added richer hues to the fabric of Minoan culture. Experiencing the labyrinthine corridors of Knossos is akin to wandering through a masterfully penned novel, with twists and turns that surprise at every corner. One can only imagine the secret meetings and hushed conversations that took place in these hallowed halls, where each narrow passage whispered subtle secrets to its clandestine wanderers. The durable stone served as witness to countless unscripted dramas, a silent spectator to events now lost to the abyss of history. And then there's that quirky tidbit that rounds out these mysterious corridors. The Greeks, in their typical fashion, loved a touch of humor even in their myths. The wooden cow crafted by Daedalus, a wooden cow in which Pasiphae concealed herself to couple with the Cretan bull, adds a creative yet whimsical aspect to the narrative. Such tales were colorful threads interwoven into the reality of Minoan culture, reflecting both the seriousness and the playfulness of ancient storytelling. From within the heart of the labyrinth, you sense a deep hum, a historical undercurrent that reverberates against the stone skeleton of Knossos. Is it the restless spirits of the past calling out, or merely your own thoughts, echoing beneath the ancient arches? Questions rise like waves crashing against the shores of your mind, carrying tales of heroism, mystery, and tragedy, an intoxicating blend of the imagined and the real. Historians have not yet reached a consensus on how or why Knossos fell. Was it simply the weight of its own magnificence that brought it down, or was it the ominous shadow of fate that swept over the land like a dark cloak? Perhaps nature itself conspired against it, as theories about earthquakes and volcanic eruptions often suggest. Such debates continue, leaving history enthusiasts like us pondering the labyrinth of possibilities. As you wander deeper into this mystery, a feeling of peace gradually envelops you. It's as if the very threads of time are weaving themselves into a comforting tapestry around you, a lullaby of history that sings you softly into repose. The corridors of Knossos, teeming with so many stories, invite you not to fear the Minotaur, but to embrace the journey itself with gentle curiosity. As you continue through the strands of time, let the labyrinth be not a place of fear or confusion, but a path that comfortably cradles your curiosity, guiding you into the gentle embrace of sleep. Let these ancient echoes soothe you, allow your spirit to wander without bounds, until the night enfolds you in its peaceful arms. As your footsteps glide softly through the dark passages and open courtyards of Knossos, an explosion of color bursts into view, so vivid that it momentarily defies the dusty shades of time. This splash of hues comes from the Frescoes' ancient painted scenes frozen in place by the hands of artisans from a bygone era. Each brushstroke seems to pull you closer, drawing you into the heart of Minoan culture where art wasn't mere decoration, it was life, captured in all its dynamic glory. You find yourself standing before these frescoes, the pigments remarkably well preserved against the ravages of time. It's easy to imagine artisans dipping their brushes into vibrant pots of ochre, azure, and crimson, each hue painstakingly crafted from natural ingredients like minerals and earth. The richness of these colors seems to transcend centuries, speaking to the remarkable skills and aesthetic sensibilities of Minoan painters. Noticeably, the ever-popular motif of saffron, its deep, earthy yellow, a nod to a plant cherished both for its color and aroma, finds its way into many scenes. Each fresco portrays a fragment of Minoan life, a tapestry woven with images of rituals, nature, and celebration. One of the most famous is the Prince of the Lilies, an enchanting depiction that reveals a young man adorned with regal lilies, indicative of both nobility and divine connection. As your gaze traces the delicate lines and curves, you sense that art for the Minoans wasn't confined to imitation but intended to evoke the essence of what lay before them. Naturally, there's a quirky tidbit here to tickle your curiosity. Despite their vibrant ceremonial portrayals, the Minoans might have had a rather humorless angle underpinning their creativity. Some researchers suggest their art was guided by religious convention more than whimsy, with humor steered towards festivals and everyday life rather than etched extensively into frescoes. Perhaps the real amusement of Minoans lay not within these walls but beyond them, carried on the laughter of wind and sea. Historians still argue whether these frescoes were purely decorative or had deeper meanings tied to status and spirituality. Some propose that these images were continuation of oral traditions, capturing myths in static form. These paintings could have told stories that every listener knew by heart, reinforced through vibrant imagery. Or perhaps they served a practical purpose, marking areas within the palace or attributing protection by depicting divine figures in proximity to sacred spaces. Even with extensive research, the exact purpose remains strikingly elusive, like an unfinished sentence in a forgotten book. As the sun traces its lazy arc across the sky, the shadows play upon these ancient pigments, making the figures dance and flicker in the changing light. You can almost feel the murmur of conversations between these stone figures, unsettlingly silent and yet profoundly articulate. The echoes of their artistry course through you, revealing a culture that thrived on the interplay between human experience and divine imagery, balancing the grounded with the spiritual. Yet, these frescoes aren't mere static entities. They're dynamic gateways, portals into the past, where every figure captured in the motion of dance or ceremony sparks your imagination. You can picture the graceful movements of dancers, feet striking the ground in rhythmic concord with ancient beats music lost but imagined again through visual harmony. Eyes that never blink gaze into the temporal distance, inviting you to see the world as they once did, full of wonder. With each line and shadow drawing you further into its embrace, you sense how the frescoes blend seamlessly with the architecture of Knossos, creating a symphony of stone and color that resonates throughout the palace. Each piece is a snapshot of its own, yet contributes to the greater narrative of Minoan vibrancy and sophistication. As your visit with these painted walls comes to a tranquil close, allow the hues to linger like a gentle twilight upon your mind's eye, a reminder of the vivid lives and legacies encased within these historic structures. Let the colors drift around you, lulling you towards sleep, as your thoughts become calmer, more attuned to the peace of the ancient world. Tomorrow holds more stories, but for tonight, let the frescoes cradle your dreams, their colors fading into soothing whispers of a world that remains both marvelously distant and eerily near. Imagine yourself swept up in the bustling activity of Knossos, the very heart of Minoan civilization. The dawn bathes the palace in golden light, revealing a hive of activity where every nook and cranny is alive with purpose. The air is thick with the smell of baked bread and the salty tang of the sea carried on a gentle breeze that tickles the senses. As you step into the day, you feel the palace pulse with life, every rhythm and creak telling stories of a bygone era. With each stone corridor you navigate, you're enveloped by the hum of daily life that echoes through this grand complex. Here, amid the labyrinthine passages, functions seamlessly unfold. Picture the bustling kitchens where workers stir great bubbling cauldrons, their hands a blur as the morning meal takes shape. The hearty smell of stews mingles with the sweetness of honey, enticing all who pass. Nearby, women sit weaving elaborate textiles, their fingers dancing deftly across looms. The intricate patterns they create tell tales of tradition and identity, whispers of art that speak louder than words. The sound of laughter drifts in from the courtyard, where children chase one another, their games devised in a shared language of joy and mischief. They pause now and then to catch their breath, their cheeks flushed with the vitality of youth. It's here that they first learn the stories of their people, stories of gods and heroes that inspire awe and wonder. A storyteller's voice rises above the din, spinning tales that weave magic into the Mundania tradition that continues, unbroken through time. As you move through the palace, your footsteps echo along corridors that speak of power. Throngs of advisors and scribes, their movements purposeful and swift, cluster around the seat of authority. The air buzzes with the sounds of debates and strategic exclamations, decisions that will reach far across the island, steering trade, alliances, and the very future of Knossos. Somewhere, the rhythmic scratching of stylus on clay tablets sings the documentation of these transactions, symbols of a society meticulously recording its legacy. Meanwhile, high above in the palace towers, the royal quarters overlook this symphony of activity. From these vantage points, one might imagine gazing out over the land and sea, taking in the serene beauty of Crete, understanding the balance of nature respected and revered in Minoan culture. Within these chambers, delicate perfumes drift in the Ira mix of the finest oils and scents harvested from distant lands, capturing the opulence and elegance that touched every corner of royal life. The thrill of the hunt, or the joys of a festival, echo in distant chambers, stories captured in frescoes and artifacts. Here lies a historical fact. Minoan society was remarkably complex, with layers of bureaucratic sophistication unseen in many contemporaneous civilizations. It championed a unique form of governance and cultural priorities that placed an emphasis on aesthetics, innovation, and social harmony. Among the many facets of palace life, there's a rather quirky tidbit: the annual bull leaping festival. It seems to straddle the line between sport and ritual, offering both adrenaline and a nod to spiritual symbolism. Imagine acrobats somersaulting over charging bulls, a display of human agility matched against raw power. It's an extravagant affair that captivated spectators and participants alike. Whether a test of bravery or a rite of passage, it reflects a society deeply enmeshed with both the natural and divine. And amidst the routine of this vibrant palace life, historians still argue whether Knossos' society was primarily peaceful or if power battles lay hidden beneath the surface tranquility. The remains of defensive structures, uncommon compared to the scale of the complex itself, lead some to suggest that diplomacy and trade were preferred over warfare. Yet, the stories of raids and rivalry across the seas remain, whispering of a different kind of conflict. As the day softens into twilight, aching feet and the hum of daily chores fall silent, replaced by the gentle embrace of night. Life at Knossos both ends and begins again, an eternal cycle of vibrant existence carved into the stone frameworks of a palace. And as dusk drapes its quietude over the land, you're invited to embrace the tranquility that follows a day of ancient wonder. Let these images draw you into rest. The dynamics of past lives, drifting to the edge of consciousness, where dreams take shape. The palace, with its dances of light and shadow, becomes a cradle of warmth and secrets. Sink into the serene embrace of this peaceful night, your mind weaving seamlessly between the whispers of history and the quiet promise of tomorrow. Let the cadence of ancient daily life guide you to a place of deep relaxation, where your dreams mingle with the stories of Knossos, softly cradling you into sleep. As night fades and the first golden rays of the sun illuminate the intricate frescoes of Knossos once more, imagine the palace awakening with a soft rush of sounds, the gentle clattering of clay pots, the murmur of voices pulled from dreams, and, remarkably, the distant sound of water trickling through cleverly devised channels. Yes, even in this ancient citadel, the Minoans were ahead of their time, boasting innovations that would impress even the most modern-minded visitor. The marvel you now step into is the palace's plumbing system, a true feat of engineering that defies the notion of primitive life. Picture this: covered clay pipes, snugly fitted, and laid with such precision that they carried water through the palace as naturally as veins carry blood. The most astounding detail? This system included flushing toilets, a luxury that many cultures would not enjoy for thousands of years. Imagine the incredulity and awe of visitors when they first beheld such ingenuity within the stone walls of Knossos. As you wander through the cool stone corridors, the gentle gurgle of water follows you like a comforting lullaby. Statesman and servant alike benefited from the palace's advanced water management, drawing upon fresh water from springs and ensuring waste had a swift exit. The echoes of water, so casually familiar today, would have been a soft, ever-present reminder of the daily rhythm and continuity of life in Knossos. Naturally, such forward-thinking infrastructure hints at the priorities and capabilities of the Minoan civilization. Here, we find a historical fact worth savoring. Knossos's plumbing was not only functional but an embodiment of Minoan values, where comfort, hygiene, and environmental harmony were interwoven. It speaks to a culture that saw utility as art and function as beauty, intertwining the two until they were indistinguishably a seamless part of daily existence. Envision, if you will, the Minoans carving out elegant pathways for water, rebellious against the sea's salty embrace, with fresh sustenance drawn from Mount Ida's flanks. Ingenious aqueducts and reservoirs provided sweet water for the great mosaic of life at Knossos. Their devotion to mastery over water resources echoes a profound relationship with nature, showcasing an eco-consciousness surprisingly aligned with modern sensibilities. Amidst this praiseworthy engineering lies a quirky tidbit. Aside from practical needs, the Minoans allegedly found a recreational side to their hydraulic feats. Some speculate that water games, perhaps even playful water sculptures, may have been featured in the palace gardens, transforming necessity into delight. Picture the sheer creativity in using water to amuse as well as sustain, a testament to the dual nature of human invention. Historians still argue whether the water systems of Knossos were purely driven by innovation or overseen by stringent priesthoods, ensuring communal sanctity and health, a blend of scientific advancement and spiritual oversight, perhaps. The ongoing debate is part of the complex interplay of religion and technology that characterized Minoan life, reflecting a civilization keenly aware of both material and spiritual needs. As the sun secures its hold over the day, sending glimmers of light dancing upon the ripples coursing through ancient channels, you find tranquility in this union of art and utility. The ancient whispers that once flowed with life here now guide you toward rest. Know that the water, ever moving, ever present, is a gentle reminder of continuity, of natural cycles flowing peacefully through the ages. As you let the soothing sounds of water ebb into the fabric of your dreams, imagine the laughter of distant games, aqueducts caressed by the wind, and the sight of water lilies on a rippling pond, each element a fragment of the harmonious past. Let these visions cradle you into sleep as the thrumming melody of ancient water systems gently escorts you into the embrace of dreams, soothing you deeper into comfort until the night wraps around you like a softly flowing stream. Let your mind wander deeper into the labyrinthine corridors of history, where hidden among the records of the past lie enigmatic tablets etched with symbols both strange and intriguing. As you step thoughtfully into this world, allow yourself to be enveloped in the gentle murmurs of ancient scribes, scratching their stories into the soft clay of the Linear B tablets. These tablets hold secrets of an era long gone, their messages echoing softly through the corridors of time, waiting for the diligent hands and imaginative minds of modern scholars to unlock their mysteries. Imagine yourself standing in a dimly lit chamber, the flickering torchlight casting playful shadows on walls lined with shelves of clay tablets, each one marked with characters that seem to dance in the light. Touching one of these tablets, you feel the impression of symbols beneath your fingertips, each symbol a silent storyteller, a record keeper of commerce, a chronicler of inventory, a silent witness to the daily workings of a vibrant palace life. Linear B, used in Knossos, was an early script, a kind of proto-writing that gave structure to the bureaucratic aspects of Minoan and Mycenaean cultures. Picture the deft hands of scribes etching these symbols into soft, wet clay, which would then be left to harden, preserving their stories for centuries. It is a delightful paradox that these fragile tablets have withstood the vagaries of time, stubbornly surviving the fall of civilizations. A historical fact of this intriguing script is that it is primarily concerned with everyday administration. The majority of deciphered tablets detail lists of goods, inventories of grain, and allocations of resources, all vital information for the running of a complex society. However, it's what might be missing from the record that captivates the mind. Unlike other ancient scripts, it offers little in the way of myth or personal correspondencia narrative gap that prompts endless speculation. Within these mysterious symbols lies a quirky tidbit that adds a toucher of humor, the infamous fig descriptor, a symbol which scholars initially believed to describe a body part due to its unfortunately ambiguous shape. Imagine the surprise when it was eventually understood to represent produces specifically figs. It's this blend of humor and human error that adds a rich layer of fascination to the study of ancient scripts. Despite significant advancements in understanding Linear B, historians still argue whether certain symbols might hint at the presence of older scripts yet undiscovered, or perhaps even lost forever. These debates are the playground of linguists and archaeologists who pore over each stroke and curve, eager for the spark of a new discovery that challenges what is known and compels us to rethink the past. The essence of mystery resides here, drawing curious minds like moths to a flame. Among the findings, some tablets allude to religious practices and offerings to deities, offering a tantalizing peek into the spiritual dimensions of Knossos. Yet even these are cryptic at best, painting an outline that is vivid and yet, frustratingly, just out of reach. As you delve, let these tablets form a visual tapestry of the mind, a mosaic of meaning and enigma, interspersed with the quiet sighs of scholars wrestling with riddles. Each of these ancient clay surfaces embodies a whisper from another time, a subtle murmur urging you to ponder the lives they document, rich with the routines and rituals that shaped Minoan civilization. As dusk softens into night, and the shadows of the chamber deepen, allow the mysteries of Linear B to simmer in your imagination. Consider how these unassuming tablets bridge centuries, their symbols still resonating faintly through the ages. The tablets are maps to an intellectual treasure trove, awaiting those willing to embrace the riddles they present. Soothe yourself with the knowledge that even in unsolved puzzles, there is comfort and connection across a gentle guide into the restful embrace of sleep. Let the symbols dance at the edges of your consciousness, weaving themselves into dreams where stories are both written and unwritten, an eternal dialogue across the silent years. It's time to rest now, time for notions to nestle within the somnolent folds of your mind, until the dawn brings new light to the ongoing quest for understanding. Let the characters of Linear B cradle you, drawing upon the tranquil flow of time that carries you softly into sleep. As you meander along the shadowed corridors of Knossos, you find yourself drawn to the enigmatic figure central to both myth and history, the so-called priest-king. The very title conjures images of a regal figure, adorned in ceremonial garb, perhaps crowned with lilies and shaded by the cool leaves of sacred groves. Yet, as you stand before the stories etched into stone and imagine through frescoes, a question arises. Who was this mysterious ruler, really, and did he even exist as legend suggests? Imagine the cool breeze wafting through an open courtyard, carrying with it the scent of olive oil and warm terracotta. This is a place that purports majesty and divine favor, where a ruler might have walked among the people, not as a distant sovereign but a guiding spiritual force. The idea of a priest-king suggests a dual role, guiding both the spiritual and temporal affairs of Knossos, underlining a civilization where the sacred and the everyday intertwine seamlessly. As you contemplate the unearthed artifacts, see if you can visualize this figure. Often portrayed as tall and vibrant, dressed in flowing robes and adorned with the rich symbols of power and piety, the priest-king is a compelling amalgam of historic conjecture and mythological flourish. A fresco fragment, reminiscent of this depiction, tantalizes those who dare to delve into its vibrant colors and half-erased linus, a tantalizing blend of truth and artistic interpretation. Therein lies a mainstream historical fact. The artifacts discovered at Knossos, including such frescoes, might not point to a singular ruler, but rather a broader representation of the leadership structure or religious iconography. The fresco, commonly linked to the priest-king, could very well represent a ceremonial leader or god instead of a direct portrayal of a ruling monarch. This possibility adds a beautiful complexity to our understanding of how the past viewed authority and divinity as intertwined. Of course, no exploration into the mysteries of Knossos would be complete without a quirky tidbit to ponder. Imagine if, instead of a solitary, serene ruler, Knossos was governed by a collective of leaders, a boardroom of sorts, if you will, each with their own set of divine roles and manifestations. This collaboration would see decisions carved into tablets, executed with precision, all within the echoing halls of marble and might. It's a delicious scenario to muse upon, where intrigue blends with administration in ways that evoke a smile. Historians still argue whether the image of a singular priest-king is a convenient interpretation fabricated by later generations, or if it's a romanticized view developed from scant historic record. This intrigue keeps scholars entrenched in debate, trying to sift fact from the glistening layers of lore and artistic conjecture. Was it indeed a monarch ensconced in sacred rites, or was the legend born of fragments both literal and figurative unearthed by curious archaeologists? Envision, amid the ambient Kephala rhythms of Knossos, a multifaceted leadership where secular duties flow side by side with religious rulings. The Council of Knossos, as we might call it, likely presided over grand ceremonies held in sanctuaries filled with incense and prayers, their influence extending beyond these hallowed chambers and into the very fabric of Minoan life. This duality of roles speaks to a civilization immersed in diplomacy and spiritual pursuits. As moonlight spills across the palace, let the air thick with sea salt and ancient echoes draw you deeper into the mysteries of the priest-king. Picture the waning shadows, where the divine and the human converged in delightful harmony, calling you to rest upon woven dreams intertwined with history's whispers. These profound echoes soften and guide you gently toward the embrace of sleep. So, as you journey deeper into your night, let the silent questions linger just beyond the reach of consciousness, akin to shadows that flit gracefully in the twilight of old. Allow this enigmatic ruler's present half-fact, half-legendo guide you softly toward a restful haven, where the past welcomes you with open arms, soothing and gently cradling you into the deep expanse of dreams. As you drift through the shadow-dappled halls of Knossos, the presence of an unmistakable symbol emerges: the mighty bull. Reverberating through myth and history, its majestic form stands as a potent emblem of power and reverence. Listen closely, and you might hear distant echoes of hooves against stone and the resonant calls of sacred ceremonies. Step into this realm, where bulls were both beasts of burden and divine messengers, threading their way into the heart of Minoan spiritual life. Imagine walking through a sunlit courtyard, long horns casting sharp shadows across the cool, patterned mosaics underfoot. The bull, in all its awe-inspiring presence, takes on an almost otherworldly glow. To the Minoans, it represented more than mere might. It was a bridge between humanity and the divine, a long-standing icon in their cultural narrative. Here, before the emblematic creature, rituals of renewal and strength were performed, echoing with the heartbeat of the palatial complex itself. A historical fact underscores this centrality. The Minoans celebrated their affinity with bulls not through violent games, but through the elegant and acrobatic bull-leaping festival, a daring tableau where participants showcased agility by vaulting gracefully over the backs of these beasts. It was an act not just of sport, but a profound ritual, a dance with divinity, where human skill and courage intertwined with animal ferocity. The festival was a testament to the synergy between nature and civilization, where cultural identity and spiritual fervor leaped together against the bright Cretan sky. Amidst this reverence lies a quirky tidbit that adds a touch of levity to the proceedings. Bulls were not only celebrated in the arena. Some Minoan stories suggest that taming the creature was something akin to a comedic spectacle. Imagine trying to reason with a bull over breakfast. Such tales may have been woven into local tales more for amusement than as declarations of prowess, adding a charmingly human touch to the affair. Yet amidst the celebration, historians still argue whether the prominence of bulls was purely symbolic or indicative of deeper socio-political significance. Did these rituals serve as a cohesive, unifying element across Crete, binding various communities together under a shared icon? Or did they represent the power dynamics at play, with bulls personifying the sheer earthly might upheld by Minoan society? The discussions roam as freely as the imagination, fueled by remnant frescoes and story-laden shards. Within the palace's caverns, sanctuaries dedicated to this creature pulse with energy. Envision a solemn procession, sacred offerings laid upon stone altars, incense spiraling heavenward to the rhythmic beat of drums. Here lie the sacred horns, the horns of consecration, perched upon high walls, a silent, godlike presence watching over each elaborate ceremony. These rituals, echoing with myth and symbolism, sought to forge understanding with deities, to court favor, to bind community under a watchful authority. At night, when the festival cools, the energy subsides, leaving behind only the echo of whispered aspirations and vows woven into the wind. The bull's image lingers, a guardian of the slumber overtaking the palace, watching over a land steeped in beauty and depth of meaning. Within these walls, where rituals once re-arched into the heavens, you are invited to find your quietude. As the warmth of day surrenders to twilight, embrace this moment. The bull, both fierce and serene, lulls you towards tranquility. Let the ceremonious pulse of its presence guide you into a world of dreams, where symbols and stories intermingle in the soothing tapestry of your mind. Allow the strength of this creature to cradle you gently, as soft breezes brush through your thoughts, and the whispers of ancient rituals ease you into the edges of restful sleep. Rest well, with the spirit of Knossos surrounding you, lapping at your consciousness like gentle waves, leading you deeper into the refuge of night. Let the sacred bull and its storied past accompany you into slumber, where history and myth become the comforting lullaby guiding you into rest. As you journey further into the labyrinthine pathways of Knossos, another layer emerges, a compelling tapestry woven with threads of intrigue and subtle power plays. The palace, while a testament to breathtaking artistry and spirituality, also served as a stage upon which the drama of politics and power unfolded. Each corridor, every chamber and courtyard, has borne witness to the arcane dance of negotiation, alliance, and rivalry that pulsed at the heart of Minoan society. Imagine, if you will, the murmur of voices bouncing off frescoed walls, whispers carrying the weight of decisions and destinies. In one chamber, a scribe carefully records the tally of vessels arriving from distant lands, while in another, emissaries from neighboring islands lay gifts before the court, an offering of goodwill and a currency of influence. Here, commerce is an instrument of diplomacy, its rhythms echoing like a drumbeat through the corridors of power. Historically speaking, Knossos is renowned for its central role in the Minoan civilization's prosperity, a hub of trade and governance that extended its reach across the Aegean Sea. This influential status is supported by a known historical fact. The Minoans were adept navigators who commanded respect and recognition from other civilizations, their maritime prowess both a shield and a conduit for cultural exchange. Yet, for every strategy and treaty, there must certainly have been the sprinkling of humorous tales, the quirky tidbit about how, perhaps, an errant goat stormed a meeting or how a scribe's inkpot overturned at the most inopportune moment, leading to smudged decrees and hurried explanations. The corridors of power, after all, are not immune to the foibles of daily life, enveloping them in a gently whimsical shroud and reminding us of the shared humanity underlying even the grandest of designs. Still, historians argue whether Knossos' preeminence was maintained purely through peaceful means or if shadows of conflict lurked beneath its serene facade. The strategic position and wealth of Knossos inevitably attracted envy and ambition, leading to tales of political scheming and intrigue that often challenge the widely held view of Minoan society as overwhelmingly benign. Imagine a covert meeting under cover of night, where allies and adversaries discuss secret alliances sealed with hushed oaths and cautious nods. These whispered negotiations underscore the delicate balance of power, a balance that required deft maneuvering and an almost theatrical sense of timing. As dusk settles and the soft glow of oil lamps replaces the sun, the palace seems to transform. The grand halls, by day venues of official business, become spaces for contemplation, where the echoes of decisions taken linger like shadows. The stone beneath your hands feels cool, imbued with centuries of conscious thought and silent observation. In this tranquil embrace, you begin to sense how Knossos held together a network of influence that reached far beyond its stone walls. The dexterity with which power was exercised left echoes of an advanced political structure, a testament to the sophistication of Minoan civilization. As you slowly unwind from the pulse of power that reverberates through these ancient halls, let the soft, gentle lull of antiquity guide your thoughts to ease. Embrace the quiet certainty that comes from understanding the delicate dance of power, a dance that blends the gravity of leadership with the lightness of chance, where every move shapes a legacy, every whisper a new path. Let this peaceful understanding cradle you into night's gentle embrace. Picture yourself strolling through moonlit courtyards, the palace unfolding in serene grandeur around you, as stories of alliances and decisions drift like soft clouds above. Allow the harmony of Knossos' past to lull you into sleep, gently wrapping your consciousness in blankets of history's whispers until you slip into the quiet abyss of dreams, where stories may continue into their own mysteries. As you tread softly through the ancient passages of Knossos, a figure emerges from the tapestry of history: Arthur Evans, the archaeologist whose work brought this magnificent palace back to prominence. Imagine yourself in the early 1900s, the sun beating down on a sprawling dig site, where Evans, with his trademark hat and fervor for the unknown, directs a symphony of digging, dust, and discovery. This is the moment Knossos began to re-emerge from the depths of history, its mysteries beckoning once more. Evans wasn't just an archaeologist, was an orchestrator of dreams, driven by a passion that blurred the lines between the scientifically meticulous and the whimsically imaginative. His endeavors to uncover the stories of Knossos often teetered on the edge of adventurous eccentricity, with quirks and quirks aplenty. Picture him eagerly surveying the layers of soil, a glint in his eye, where others saw only earth and stone. Evans envisioned the epic tales of ancient Minoans unfolding. A mainstream historical fact lies in his efforts to restore sections of Knossos adventure, both lauded and critiqued in historical circles. Using concrete and creative interpretation, Evans sought to breathe life back into the ruins, constructing and reconstructing his vision of what the palace might have been. The result? A vibrant amalgamation of historical fidelity and imaginative interpretation. a backdrop where history meets the narrative flourish of Evans's personal touch. Yet, his methods did not escape the critical eye. Here is a quirky tidbit. Among his more colorful efforts, Evans is noted to have included an unlikely companion of modernity metal railings painted in vivid hues, serving as guards on reconstructed staircases. While practical, they add an unexpected dash of contemporary flair to ancient domains, evoking chuckles from visitors and more than a few scholarly headshakes. Historians still argue whether Evans's interpretations overshadowed the original essence of Knossos, leading to debates about authenticity and the boundaries of archaeological restoration. Was his hand too heavy, his creativity too unchecked, in the quest to curate a corner of the ancient world for a modern audience? This ongoing dialogue underscores the delicate balance between uncovering the past and presenting it within contexts that resonate with contemporary sensibilities. Imagine strolling beside Evans, your footsteps echoing through halls where he stood consumed by both imagination and grit, pondering the lives that once pulsated through these spaces. The rooms reveal themselves like chapters, each offering glimpses of different stories and personalities tales sculpted by their discoverer's vision. Despite controversies, Evans's contributions remain an invaluable window into the scope and scale of Gnossian magnificence. His work challenges us to think beyond the remnants, to imagine the daily lives, the festivals, the councils and camaraderie that flourished amidst these stones. His passion reawakened interest in Minoan civilization, inviting scholars and dreamers alike into meaningful dialogues with history. As the day tilts towards twilight and shadows deepen around the pillars and corridors, the persona of Arthur Evans simmers like a motif in a larger composition. Through his earnest excavations and reimaginings, you find a sense of continuity, a whisper of past to present, like notes of a gentle symphony stretching across time. So, let the presence of Evans, with all his quirks and insights, guide you into the serene embrace of night. As you tread the line between fact and fiction, molded by a passionate archaeologist's dreams, allow yourself to descend into restful slumber. Drift with the cadence of history, linking dreams to the stories of ancient Knossos. Savor these moments as stories cradle your thoughts, ushering you tenderly into the waters of sleep, where yesterday's whispers transform into tonight's tranquil reverie. As you venture deeper into the chambers of Knossos, the air begins to cool, carrying with it the whispers of those who once walked these paths. Only now, it's the somber notes of ancient rituals that slip through the cracks, a glimpse into the Minoan views on life and the great beyond. Imagine yourself stepping into these sacred spaces, where the boundaries between the living and the departed were marked not by harsh lines, but by seamless threads of belief, spun through elaborate funerary practices. Envision, if you may, a hillside bathed in soft morning light, where delicate columns of smoke curl upwards, carrying offerings to the heavens. Here, amid the rocky landscapes of Crete, the Minoans prepared elaborate ceremonies to bid farewell to their dead, a rite that integrated community, faith, and the natural world. The sight of terracotta sarcophagi, elegantly painted with scenes of daily life and myth, bears testament to the value placed on storytelling, even in death. These artistic treasures, often discovered in tombs, speak of a desire to capture not only the deceased's identity, but their passage into the afterlife. A mainstream historical fact reveals that Minoan burial practices were diverse, ranging from individual grave sites to extensive family tombs. These burial systems reflected both the socio-economic status of the deceased and societal shifts over time. Moreover, these practices were not just about physical remains, but about invoking protection and ensuring safe passage for the soul into the realms beyond. Yet, within the intricacies of ritualistic tradition lies a peculiar, almost whimsical detail: the practice of using conch shells in burial ceremonies. These marine symbols might have served as a humbling nod to the liminal space between worlds, echoing the Minoans' affinity for the sea. These shells, found alongside the dead or incorporated into the grave goods, acted perhaps as vessels for the soul's journeyer, as the fanciful storyteller might imagine, a means to call the gods of the deep for safe passage. Historians still argue whether certain funerary practices were reserved exclusively for the elite, or if they permeated the broader Minoan society. Were the grand stone tombs and richly adorned sarcophagi symbols of a hierarchical afterlife, or do they reveal a more widespread cultural tradition celebrating lives both prominent and humble? The graves, etched in silence, keep their secrets close, leaving scholars to sift through fragments and speculate on the essence of Minoan ideology. As twilight descends on the ancient grounds, imagine the chorus of insects replacing the day's bustle with their rhythmic serenade, a fitting backdrop to contemplate the whispered stories of those laid to rest. In these moments, it's easy to envision how loved ones gathered and shared tales of their ancestors, invoking memories that kept spirits alive through the ebb and flow of time. Let your imagination wander into the glow of lantern-lit vigils, where the living paid homage and sought to understand the mysteries of existence, perpetuating a cycle of life that intertwined with elements of the divine. Their stories, captured in the play of shadow and light, enhance the narrative woven into these ancient stones. The peaceful stillness that presides over the burial sites now extends its soft embrace to you, gently drawing the curtain down on the day. As the echoes of rituals and the rustle of distant branches weave together, you find solace in the enduring bond between those who walked before and those who walk now. As night claims its realm, allow these stories, woven into the threads of Knossos' past, to guide you into restful slumber. With the comfort of history cradling you, slip into the deep, quiet well of dreams, where the voices of the past harmonize with the whispers of the present, lulling you softly into a serene and restorative sleep. As you continue your journey through the evocative halls of Knossos, also known as the Queen's Room, you step into a world where walls adorned with dolphins and sensuous spirals whisper tales of women whose roles have stirred centuries of fascination and debate. Close your eyes and envision their presence, moving gracefully through the sun-dappled courtyards, their influence felt in both domestic and spiritual realms. The enigmatic roles of the women in Minoan society invite you to ponder: were they matriarchs wielding power, or has time veiled their reality beneath layers of myth? Imagine the warmth of the Cretan sun illuminating the frescoes that depict women partaking in ceremonies, swirling in dances of devotion. These images, with their vibrant colors and elegant compositions, have led many to postulate that women enjoyed a status unparalleled in much of the ancient world, possibly engaged in civic duties and religious leadership. The visions evoke a society where femininity was intricate, empowered, and interwoven with the societal structure. One historical fact that amplifies this vision is the repeated portrayal of women in roles of prominence within frescoes unearthed at Knossos. Often shown in positions that hint at spiritual authority and ritual significance, these depictions challenge traditional assumptions about gender roles in antiquity. Rather than mere adornments or supportive figures in rituals, these women appear at the forefront, suggesting arenas of both influence and autonomy. Amidst this exploration arises a quirky tidbit, tethered to the iconic snake goddess of Knossos, an enigmatic figure whose statues are emblematic of Minoan artistry and spirituality. Imagine an ancient divot in the floor, a favored gathering spot, now preserved, where faithful would have once petitioned this goddess. These snake goddess figures, often adorned with wild, curling serpents, give us a peek into the potential duality of Minoan women, delicate and nurturing, yet embodying strength and mysticism. Yet, historians still argue whether the elevated status of women in Minoan society is based on substantial evidence or romanticized interpretations born of modern research biases. Did these displays of feminine power accurately reflect societal norms, or were they isolated expressions not representative of broader realities? The debate spins like the figures in their fresco dances, endlessly intriguing scholars and visitors alike. As you pass by the cool stone benches and sumptuous terraces of Knossos, imagine these women merchants, priestesses, mother-woven into the fabric of daily life, their influence radiating beyond the frescoes that portray them. They would have inhabited a world teeming with commerce and spirituality, where their roles went beyond the mere ceremonial to become an intrinsic thread in the tapestry of Minoan civilization. Later, as the sun dips beneath the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, the temple silhouettes invoke a quiet reverence. Women of Knossos would have gathered in the cool evening air, sharing stories, dreams, and perhaps a gentle laugh under the moonlight's embrace. You can feel the intertwining of community and tradition, a bond that speaks to shared experiences and legacies handed down through the ages. As night slowly envelops the ancient palace, let the stories you've embraced wash over you, offering comfort and insight. Allow images of gentle strength and elegant leadership to softly shepherd you into the nest of dreams. Sit quietly with the whispers of those who've walked before, knowing that you, too, are part of an enduring chain that honors and remembers the courage and wisdom of the past. In the calm and soothing cocoon of history, let yourself drift into restful slumber. Cradle the narratives you've gathered from Knossos as they transform into the lullabies of your sleep, carrying you into a realm where ancient tales birth new dreams, where every whisper of the past becomes a gentle passage into the sanctuary of your night. As you journey deeper into the complex tapestry of Knossos, the scent of exotic spices and the soft rustle of parchment hint at another dimension of Minoan life, the economy, that buzzed like an elaborate web, connecting this island hub with distant lands. Picture the vibrant marketplace at the heart of the palace complex, a bustling kaleidoscope of colors and sounds where traders exchanged goods and stories under the watchful gaze of ancient gods. Envision the marketplace, with its stalls brimming with goods rows of amphorae filled with olive oil, jars of honey gleaming like liquid gold, and baskets overflowing with dates and figs, their sweetness perfuming the air. The Minoans were shrewd traders, renowned for their meticulous record-keeping and innovative systems that fueled an economy stretching across the Aegean and beyond. Historically, Knossos flourished due to its strategic location and maritime prowess. The Minoans traded extensively with neighboring civilizations, establishing a vast network that reached the shores of Egypt and the Near East. A mainstream historical fact reveals that Minoan ships carried not just goods, but the soul of their civilization, art and ideas, intertwining commerce with cultural exchange, which in turn enriched their society both materially and artistically. In this lively environment lies a quirky tidbit. Archaeologists discovered a startling number of high-quality pottery sherds that point to the fine craftsmanship prized by the Minoans. Imagining artisans at work in their workshops, you can almost hear the clinking of chisels and the rhythmic tapping that shaped clay into elaborate jugs and bowls. These highly decorated ceramics were not just utilitarian items but treasured commodities, ferried across seas to captivate distant customers, sparking the envy of those seeking the allure of Minoan artistry. Historians still argue whether the economy of Knossos was solely driven by royal mandates or if it thrived because of an intricate interplay between palace decrees and the creativity of local traders. Was Knossos, as some suggest, a centrally controlled economy with stringent oversight, or did it embody a more organic blend of palace-directed trade and individual enterprise? This dynamic interplay of control and creativity gives rise to a debate that remains unsolved. Imagining the traders, who once navigated the labyrinthine alleys of Knossos, each carrying with them a piece of Minoan vibrancy, you sense the pulse of an economy, not just thriving but celebrated. These vibrant exchanges were more than mere transactions, they were acts of cultural connection, each handshake and exchange nurturing the ties that bound civilizations. As the day advances, you picture the sun casting long shadows across the bustling market, its golden light reflecting off the shimmering waters of the Mediterranean. You can almost feel the camaraderie among traders, each interaction a delicate dance of negotiation, where a shared language of commerce transcended barriers and built bridges of understanding. As the evening settles into the soft amber glow of dusk, imagine the merchants gathering to share tales of the day's triumphs over cups of aromatic wine, their laughter mingling with the distant sounds of the sea. The economic heartbeat of Knossos, still visible in the hushed remnants of workshops and storerooms, serenades you with its intricate harmony. Let these visions of trade and exchange accompany you as night embraces Knossos. Picture the market now, emptied of its bustle, cocooned in tranquility. It is a place where echoes of commerce and camaraderie cradle you softly, guiding you into a peaceful slumber. As you drift into the world of dreams, allow the stories of ancient trade and prosperity to wrap around you like a silken blanket, whispering the gentle lullaby of a civilization whose vibrant pulse still resonates across the ages, carrying you gently into the serene depths of sleep. As you explore further into the harmony of Knossos, the vivid tapestry of Minoan life unfurls a profound connection with natura symbiosis, where the land, sea, and sky were revered companions in both survival and spiritual expression. Feel the warmth of the sun bathing the palace, the gentle rustle of the olive groves whispering age-old secrets, and the salty breath of the sea invigorating the senses, enveloping you in this symphonic relationship Minoans forged with their environment. Imagine waking up to the crisp Cretan dawn, where the first light kisses the mountains and dances upon the olive leaves, their silvery glint like scattered jewels. The Minoans were an agrarian people, skillfully cultivating the fertile land to support their burgeoning society. Their mastery over the natural world is evident in the lush terraces of olive trees and vineyards, which proffer their bounties with each passing season. A well-known historical fact illustrates the importance of agriculture and maritime trade to Minoan society. They perfected the art of olive oil production, transforming this golden liquid into a treasured commodity that supported both domestic consumption and trade. Olives and their oil became a vital exporta symbol of abundance that fueled economic growth and a foundation upon which Minoan prosperity thrived. This intimate bond with nature is captured vividly in the frescoes that adorn the palace walls, where scenes of azure seas teeming with dolphins and vibrant fields bursting with poppies and lilies mirror the natural splendor that defined Minoan existence. In these artistic renditions lies a quirky tidbit, the depiction of saffron gatherers, cloaked in flowing robes, carefully plucking the crocus blooms. This laborious task highlights the Minoans' appreciation for nature's intricate offerings and their efforts to tame it with patience and respect. Historians still argue whether the Minoans viewed this harmonious relationship through a purely pragmatic lens, or if it also encompassed a deeper spiritual reverence for the divine forces believed to animate land and sea. Were the exuberant natural motifs simply aesthetic, or did they convey an acknowledgement of the gods who'd bestowed such abundance? The enduring debates entice you deeper into the philosophical musings of a civilization where practicality and spirituality waltz joyfully together. As you stroll through the open courts and gardens of Knossos, imagine the joyous hum of life intertwined seamlessly with natura communion, where Minoans celebrated the changing seasons, with festivals that honored the fractal dance of life enveloped in sunlit splendor. They saw their surroundings not just as resources, but as the embodiment of divine essence, each vine and ripple imbued with purpose and meaning. And as the sun dips low against the horizon, transforming the sky into a canvas of oranges and pinks, imagine Minoan priests lighting torches along the sacred avenues, their flames a tribute to Helios as he descends into the sea. These moments celebrate the divine tapestry of nature, reinforcing humanity's place in a universe held together by unseen yet palpable forces. As twilight infuses Knossos with a tranquil glow, let the peace of this enduring harmony wash over you like the gentle sweep of a warm summer breeze. Allow the essence of Knossos etched with the rhythms of nature and spirito envelop you, drawing you into a state of restful awareness. As night settles, find solace within this cradle of ancient truths. Picture yourself nestled in a grove, the leaves whispering sweet lulls and stars, painting a celestial mosaic above. Here, where nature and humanity are kindred spirits, the timeless lullaby of Knossos beckons you towards a peaceful sleep. Let the harmony of the past carry you softly into dreams, where you become one with the tapestry of life in a world alive with whispers both ancient and eternal. The quietude of night still clings to Knossos as you step into a world that trembles with the distant echoes of its dramatic end-tale of fire, earth, and skies that drove the city from glory to mystery. Imagine the soft whisper of wind through the olive branches, punctuated by the distant rumble of forgotten calamities, as we delve into the theories surrounding the fall of this mighty civilization. The corridors, so filled with life, suddenly silent, their stories lingering like the scent of smoke after a flame. Envision walking through the ruins, charred stones bearing witness to an age that ended in ash. Knossos, once a teeming hub of culture and trade, fell victim to forces beyond its walls. The near-mythic eruption of Thera, now Santorini, looms large in the accepted narrativa historical fact that drapes this end with both mystery and awe. The explosion was catastrophic, casting clouds of ash across the sea and forming tsunamis powerful enough to breach the shores of Crete, yet its direct impact on Knossos remains a topic of lively debate. Scholars, piecing together geological and archaeological evidence, have argued over the extent to which this natural disaster played a direct role in the downfall of the Minoans. Was it the sheer might of nature that swept them into history's shadows, or a complex combination of seismic activity and subsequent societal upheaval? Historians still argue whether the real ruin lay in the aftershocks, not just physical but economic and social, that reverberated through a civilization already beset by changing trade routes and shifting political landscapes. And then there's a quirky tidbit in the narrative that might surprise you. Theories also flirt with the idea of internal strife, suggesting that the conflagrations engulfing the palace could have been fueled by fiery political dissent. It paints a picture of a society that, while advanced, might still succumb to the timeless test of internal disruption, a sudden, combustible end to what remains one of history's elegant mysteries. As you continue your journey through the storied rubble of Knossos, visualize the once great halls now open to the elements. Their once bustling interiors now silent, their painted walls faded yet persistent, hinting at lives lived boldly before being swept away. The fire-scarred remnants speak softly of transience, the temporal nature of empires, and the unyielding continuum of time that gently gathers all into its embrace. The shadows lengthen as the setting sun caresses the ruins, casting the past in gentle silhouette against the horizon. It is a time to ponder how nature's caprice, once held in reverence, may have ultimately asserted itself with irrevocable finality. Yet, even in the devastation, there remains a legacy, a lingering memory of a world where beauty and culture flourished against all odds, bathed in the vibrant hues of antiquity. As twilight falls and the stars shimmer through a tranquil night sky, the allure of Knossos beckons to its quiet sanctum, where stories rest and await the gentle coaxing of dawn. Allow this soothing solitude, enriched with the echoes of faded glory and whispered wisdom, to guide you into restorative calm. In the embrace of night, let the fables of Knossos weave their gentle magic around you. As you rest beneath the celestial canopy, remember the lessons whispered by the ancients, that all things, even the greatest of peoples and palaces, must yield their stories to the silent night. Slip into sleep, where dreams offer you the clarity of morning light, bearing reflections of the past, merging with the intimacy of the present, holding gently onto the eternal beauty of Knossos, caressing you toward tranquil dreams. As the quiet night wraps around the ancient remains of Knossos, a haunting layer of mystery and intrigue drapes over the Palacia dimension, inspired not by the physical ruins, but by the whispers and echoes of stories that claim the supernatural as part of their narrative. Imagine yourself standing in the cool, moonlit courtyards where shadows stretch and morph into figures, almost as if time itself breathes around you. It's here, in the deep silence, that tales of lingering spirits and enigmatic presences stir to life. Picture the desolate halls at dusk, where the muted footsteps of visitors merge with the phantom echoes of the past. The air seems to shimmer as you hear the faint echoes of conversations once held in secret, the rustle of robes moving unseen through now empty passageways. The Minoans, steeped in rituals and spirits, left traces that some say vibrate between this world and the next, wrapped in veils of mystery that time cannot dissipate. There's something thrilling about considering the supernatural in this historical context of place where fact and the ethereal twist in delicate embrace. You might have heard the tales from locals about spectral figures glimpsed in the corners of frescoed rooms or the sensation of unseen eyes trailing your progress through the labyrinth of Knossos. Such tales leave an indelible mark on the imagination, an intriguing layer to the storied past of this palace. This fascination extends to a quirky tidbit that often floats about among these ghostly tales: the idea that the figure known as the Minotaur is not simply a myth but a restless spirit, wandering the ruins in search of peace. Legends relate that the beast's mournful cries echo through the cold, stone walls at night, suggesting an eternal search to reclaim a humanity lost in time and lore. It's a story that delights and unnerves, infusing the ruins with a mythical presence that draws onlookers with its haunting allure. While historians often view ghost stories with a skeptical eye, they do not dismiss the cultural significance of these narratives, noting how such tales can reflect the psyche of those who created and perpetuated them. Historians still argue whether these spectral stories date back to actual Minoan beliefs, or if they were born from later reinterpretations by subsequent generations seeking to bridge the gap between their history and the nebulous unknown. An eternal loop of storytelling, liminal space, where the present honors the whispers of the past. As you wander these spaces under the watchful eye of the stars, the night seems to hum with potential, an openness that fosters the imagination's flight. Even now, you hear the gentlest sighs of breeze through the olive trees, the scent of ancient cypress carried with the night air, blending reality with the mythical. It's easy to find solace in the notion that these whispered remnants of bygone tales could indeed be alive, mingling with every soft footfall and every whispered breeze. The spectral essence of Knossos stands as a testament to our deep-seated desire to connect beyond temporal borders, yearning for stories where spirits walk among us, bridging the chasm between then and now. This imparts a unique allure, a compelling urge to listen and look closer, to feel that breath of the unseen linger on the back of your neck. Now, as night deepens, inviting the mind to gentle restfulness, allow these spectral tales to accompany you into the cradle of dreams. Picture the ethereal figures weaving through the moonlight, guiding you softly into a serene slumber where history's spirits dance across the night. Let their whispered stories caress your consciousness, delicately unfurling through dreams that intertwine reality and reverie, holding you close as you journey into the comforting embrace of sleep. In the heart of Knossos, you find a treasure trove of stories, not only told but untold artifacts that hold secrets clasped tightly within their ancient embrace. The palace, ever watchful over its treasures, is both guardian and grave, holding the relics of the past in a silent pact of time. Imagine wandering through the rooms and courtyards, where light filters through cracks and gaps, illuminating the curiosities that once defined Minoan life. These artifacts, each one a fragment of a larger narrative, whisper of the civilizations that cherished them. Consider the rooms filled with pottery, small statuettes, and intricately carved seals, each telling a story through its craftsmanship. These items were not merely utilitarian. They carried with them the essence of Minoan identity. Picture handling a delicate serpent bracelet or a cup etched with spirals that mimic the waves surrounding Critique artifact, a tangible connection to the people of Knossos. Artisans' hands, guided by both skill and tradition, shaped these objects that now patiently await new stories to tell. Amid these wonders lies a mainstream historical fact. The vibrant frescoes and delicate faience figurines speak of a society where art was a fundamental element of life. Yet there are countless other artifacts. Uncovering them is like unwrapping whispers of the past, offering glimpses into rituals, trade functions, and aesthetic preferences. Even mundane clay tablets add their voice to a chorus, documenting transactions in daily life. Here amidst these discovered relics, we find some Quirks, a delightful tidbit to amuse. The bull Riton, a ceremonial libation vessel crafted in the image of a bull's head with open mouth, often found turned on its side, leading to humorous speculation about ancient parties gone awry. Was it ceremonial, or could it have been a whimsical challenge for those imbibing, akin to losing your outlandish party cup today? Despite its solemn use, one can't help but chuckle at the thought of Minoans raising such vessels in both reverence and revelry. Yet, as captivating as these treasures are, historians still argue about the significance and origin of numerous artifacts. Were they gifts from neighboring civilizations, or representations of inspired cultural adaptation? The ongoing scholarly debate centers around whether these relics were wholly Minoan or bore the influences of past interactions with trading partners. Each opinion penned is another thread woven into the tapestry of this complex civilization. Imagine artifacts found by Evans and others, missing pieces, those that vanished over time, or were purposefully hidden artifacts that could have completed mosaics of interpretation, now only served to fuel imagination. The question of what was lost, deliberately buried by the sands of time or spirited away long before archaeologists arrived, adds an alluring tension to the finds we possess. As evening gently tucks itself around Knossos, think of these hidden treasures as phantoms of potential, relics in waiting. Each remains poised on the brink of unveiling narratives of innovation and tradition that rest, stealthily, within forgotten corners. These stories, once cloaked in mystery, stir softly to life under both moonlight and scholarly pursuit. In the deepening twilight, let the echoes of Knossos' artifacts cradle you into a sense of wondrous possibility. Allow the soft, secret murmurs of ancient objects to escort you into dreams, where their tales hold the promise of antiquity returned anew. Feel the warm embrace of history, full of both solved mysteries and the beguiling allure of those still unknown, guiding you gently into the tranquil sanctuary of sleep. Let your breath become as gentle as the Cretan breeze, and drift into rest, where the relics of the past cradle you softly into the comforting blanket of night. As you sweep further into the vivid corridors of Knossos, your senses attune to another forgotten yet essential realm of ancient life, the music and merriment that resonated through its halls, filling the air with a cultural tapestry woven from the very essence of sound. Imagine yourself bathed in the gentle glow of lamplight, as fluted notes and rhythmic drumming drift through the palace, lilting on the breeze with an ethereal grace that beckons you to follow its lyrical path. Picture yourself amidst the festival halls, where laughter bubbles over and the resonant pulse of instruments converges, blending into an intoxicating symphony. Singers clothe their melodic stories with poignant words, their voices echoing a rich tradition that stretches beyond time. Within these stone walls, music was life. It told stories and celebrated the cycles of nature, capturing both the sublime and the mundane in perfect harmony. A historical fact imbues this scene with depth. Artifacts and frescoes from Knossos provide insights into the significance of music and dance in Minoan culture. Images depict musicians playing the lyre and flute, their hands captured mid-motion, as if the melody might start up again at any moment. The discovery of pottery inscribed with musical motifs hints at the deep root music had in daily Minoan life, a rhythmic heartbeat in a world of color and craft. Amidst this harmonious backdrop, there's a quirky tidbit of Minoan merriment, waiting to be savored. The tradition of the bull-leaping festivities, described often as being acrobatic displays accompanied by vibrant music. Imagine young athletes flipping effortlessly over the great beasts, while musicians urge them on with rousing tunes, blending awe with amusement, as audience gasps transform into laughter, a thrilling combination of sport, spectacle, and sound. Historians still argue about the precise role music played within Minoan ceremonies. Was it primarily for enjoyment, or did it carry sacred significance, entwining with rituals to honor divinities with resonant offerings of sound? Some suggest that rhythm and melody danced in tandem with the sun's journey, invoking protection and favor from the gods, a captivating idea that underscores music's central role in the spiritual and social fabric. As you roam through these imagining, let the creation of sound echo in your thoughts, the vibration of lyre strings, the hollow timbre of pithoid drums, and the piercing clarity of pipes, their notes weaving an invisible thread connecting performers to their audience. Each musical act heralded a dance of elegance, toes tapping upon polished stone floors as the melody guided feet and soul alike to new heights of joy. Envision the grandeur of palace festivities, where citizens donned their brightest garments, gilded in vibrant dyes and intricate weavings, their voices lifted in harmony with the instrumental chorus that surrounded them. These celebrations were more than mere gatherings. They were a vibrant expression of communal identity and spiritual exuberance. As twilight descends, leaning against the rhythm of day's end, the resonance of Knossos's musical past begins to fade, leaving you in the soft, quiet embrace of night. Yet, the memory of those ancient harmonies remains a tender chorus that echoes gently in the chambers of your thoughts, luring you toward peaceful slumber. Now, as sleep calls gently, let these melodic memories cradle you, drawing you into the depths of dreams where notes flutter and intertwine with whispered stories from so long ago. Allow the music and joy of Knossos to carry you safely through the dreams of night, where the euphonious presence of past dances, forever bound to those rhythms, wraps you in a gentle blanket of rest and repose. Drift softly into the night, where echoes of ancient songs soothe past and present, welcoming you into dreams. As the sun begins to dip beyond the horizon, casting a gentle glow across the sprawling vastness of Knossos, your senses attune to an oft-overlooked yet vital aspect of Minoan life, the culinary experiences that graced their tables and filled their lives with tradition and taste. Imagine yourself amidst the enticing aroma of freshly baked bread mingling with the scent of herbs and spices wafting from the kitchens, inviting you to savor the rich tapestry of flavor that was both sustenance and celebration in this ancient civilization. Picture a bustling Minoan kitchen, where cooks work skillfully, the soft sound of grinding grains a constant background hum. You are enveloped in the scent of barley and wheat, their grains transformed into the foundational sustenance that would form the basis of many meals. Bread, both humble and heartening, emerged as a symbol of community, a shared entity passed from hand to hand, each loaf a product of labor and life in Knossos. A mainstream historical fact lies in the agricultural wealth that supported Minoan feasts. The fertile Cretan soil yielded olives, figs, saffron, and grapes, while the surrounding seas offered an abundance of fish and seafood. These ingredients knit into a mosaic of dishes that mirrored the diversity and abundance of the land, culminating in meals that were both communal gatherings and artistic expressions of the season's bounty. Amid these culinary adventures stands a deliciously quirky tidbit. The Minoans had an intriguing love affair with honey, their go-to sweetener long before sugar entered the global culinary stage. Honey, often paired with nuts and figs or drizzled over roasted meats, added a divine sweetness to dishes and was believed to hold curative properties, a true staple of Minoan cuisine, as well as its mythology. Whether in savory or sweet, honey harmonized with the flavors, infusing every dish with a touch of the divine. Historians still argue about the extent to which Minoans adopted foreign culinary influences and integrated them into their own practices. Was the diversity in their culinary repertoire a direct result of trade interactions with other cultures, or did it arise independently from the resource-rich Cretan landscape? Questions weave through the gastronomic tapestry, inviting scholars to savor and speculate on the Minoans' culinary journey across time and sea. As twilight continues its gentle descent, leaving trails of lavender and gold across the landscape, the flavor palette of Knossos unfurls before you. Visualize participants gathering within sun-drenched courtyards, tables adorned with pottery brimming with delicacies. There is laughter and conversation, the clink of goblets filled with wine as traditions are toasted and stories retold, strengthening communal bonds over meals that nurtured body and spirit alike. Imagine the spirited festivitas, that would crown a successful harvesta procession of offerings to ensure prosperity. In these gatherings, the palette of Knossos was a means of celebration, connecting each individual to the land they cherished. The communal feasts, echoing with sounds of joy, nurtured more than just sustenance. They were the heartbeats of Minoan unity. As the night deepens and the perfume of evening descends over Knossos, let the warmth of these culinary stories fill you, drawing you toward a comforting rest. Picture the vestiges of a Minoan meal, a simple loaf shared, a cup emptied, the sweet residue of honey lingering long after the revelry has ceased, each a tender reminder of a world where food, tradition, and community vibration harmoniously in every bite. Allow these rich flavors to cradle you into sleep, guiding you into dreams where you wander through Minoan kitchens and courtyards, savoring the essence of ancient cuisine. Let your mind indulge in the savory and the sweet, the hearty and the delicate, as you drift into a serene world of dreams cocooned in the comforting feast of history's palate. As the night enfolds you, the comforting echo of Minoan feasts lulls you gently into nourishing rest, where Knossos's culinary whispers enhance your journey into slumber. As you stand at the edge of Knossos and look toward the sea, you feel the gentle breeze carry the scent of salt and adventure. The Minoan world was not confined to the land, it embraced the sea and all its possibilities. Imagine sailors loading their sturdy, painted vessels, ready to venture into the unknown horizons of the Aegean Sea, each wave guiding them toward stories yet unwritten. The harbor of Knossos was a bustling hub, where the creak of ships' hulls and the calls of merchants filled the air with vibrant energy. Picture seafarers singing songs of distant lands as they prepared to sail, their voices echoing through the harbor as they pushed away from the bustling shore. To the Minoans, the sea was both a highway and a protector, a vital artery through which life's essentials flowed. A fascinating historical fact about Minoan society is their exceptional prowess in maritime trade and seafaring. Their ships linked Cretan markets with those of Egypt, the Levant, and mainland Greece. The Minoans exported their famous pottery, wine, olive oil, and intricate metalwork, weaving a network of cultural and commercial ties that enriched every shore they touched. The art of trade was as carefully crafted as their ceramics, sealing bonds and bartering for the treasures of other worlds. With this expansion came a quirky exploration tidbit. The Minoan sailors allegedly covered the eyes of their decorated ship prows with painted lids when at rest, a charming anthropomorphism that protected their proud vessels from unwanted gazes, even while docked. This whimsical tradition hints at the personality imbued in every crafted detail and the close kinship sailors shared with their vessels, seeing them as companions on the vast expanse. Historians still argue whether the Minoans' mastery of the sea stemmed from innate technological innovation or whether it resulted from a responsive adaptation to the challenges and opportunities inherent to island life. The question of their acumen invites continued exploration of the balance between necessity and creativity in shaping progress. Imagine standing on the prow of a Minoan ship, feeling the salt spray against your skin as you chart a course across the sun-drenched seas. Each journey is a quest for discovery, a pursuit of goods, knowledge, and cultural exchange. The call of distant lands echoes across the vast, azure waters as sailors chart their paths using celestial navigation and the wisdom handed down through generations of seafaring tradition. They navigate with confidence, guided by the interplay of stars and waves, harmonizing earthly needs with the mysteries of the heavens. As twilight embraces the horizon, picture the returning fleet sailing into Knossos' harbor, laden with stories and treasures from afar. The pale moonlight reflects off the calm water, creating a silvery path home. In the echoing laughter of loved ones greeting sailors' return, you can hear the call of the adventures shared and yet to be discovered, the enduring spirit of exploration that defined the Minoan heart. As the evening deepens into night, the sea settles into a gentle lull, its rhythmic dance a hypnotic lure toward restful slumber. Allow yourself to be carried on these ancient waves, the whispers of adventure weaving through your dreams like the sound of distant tides upon unknown shores. In the embrace of history's rhythm, Let tales of voyages sweep you into dreams where you stand beneath stars as part of a great Minoan journey. Let your mind unfurl as the sails once did, carried on ancient winds through the wondrous expanse. Allow your thoughts to drift with ease on the sea of tranquility, as Knossos quietly cradles your journey into the night, bringing peace and the promise of dreams washed gently onto the shores of sleep. As you find yourself threading through the intricate pathways of Knossos, the hearth of Minoan creativity and craftsmanship begins to reveal its well-kept secrets. Bonfires flicker, and the clinking of tools fills the air, a harmonious cadence that speaks to a time when artisans and innovators worked side by side, their creations breathing life into the very fabric of society. Imagine yourself stepping into this world where every workshop is a cauldron of ingenuity and artistic expression. Picture the vibrant energy of the artisans at work, their hands deftly shaping clay into vessels adorned with spirals and natural motifs, each pot a testament to both beauty and function. You note the spaciousness of Knossos not merely in its architecture, but also in the way it allowed for workshops dedicated to various crafts pottery, metalwork, textiles, and fresco painting. Each craft a thread woven into the grand tapestry of Minoan culture. A historical fact highlights the advanced metallurgical skills of the Minoans, who fashioned tools and jewelry from bronze, blending practicality with artistry. The bronze double axe, an emblematic symbol found at Knossos, speaks of their craftsmanship prowess. It illustrates the dual importance of utility and symbolism, its very presence hinting at activities that ranged from rites of passage to ceremonial displays of power. There's a quirky tidbit that adds a fascinating layer to our perception of Minoan artisans. Evidence suggests that workshops in Knossos implemented early assembly line methods. Artisans would focus on specific stages of production, contributing their specialized skills to a piece that would then move to the next artisan, reflecting a remarkable understanding of efficiency and collaboration. It's an early glimpse of industry, where creativity met careful coordination long before such concepts framed our modern factories. Yet, historians still debate the influences that shaped Minoan artistry. Were these styles purely organic, birthed from the land's rich resources and the people's imagination, or did they reflect extensive interactions with neighboring civilizations, blending local and foreign elements into unique expressions? Each crafted object holds a multitude of stories, and examining them is akin to listening to the whispers of history's collective heart. As you wander through this hive of creativity, imagine the artisans collaborating, ideas bouncing across stone walls, striking the air like sparks from a smith's forge. Each crafted object, whether a vivid fresco or a delicately woven textile, was more than just a product. It was a testament to the craftsman's skill and insight, a visual dialogue echoing the vibrancy of Minoan life into the present. With the day's light dimming, imagine the workshops now aglow in the soft, amber light of oil lamps, casting shadows that echo past industrious hands moving gracefully over their chosen medium. Creativity in Knossos ebbed and flowed like a tide, leaving its mark in both grand artistic gestures and the everyday artistry of carved wood, molded stone, and woven wool. As night descends, allow the creative spirit of Knossos to guide you gently into rest. Picture the rhythmic sounds of the day fading into the tranquility of evening, a lullaby born of age-old industry and inspiration. Let the legacy of these artisans cradle your thoughts, blending the echoes of their craft with the whispered promise of renewal woven into dreams. Yield to the soothing cadence of creativity and inspiration that wraps around you like a comforting shawl, leading you securely into the world of dreams. Here, among the imaginings and the echoes of past artistry, find your restful enclave. Drift into the soft embrace of night, where creations long past continue to illuminate the way, gently lighting the path into a peaceful, restorative slumber, as the artistry of Knossos surrounds and comforts you. As you wander through the echoing halls of Knossos, the influence of modern perceptions and interpretations begins to emerge. This ancient palace, standing resolute in its ruinous grandeur, has inspired imaginations far beyond its time, breathing life into stories of men and gods, of triumph and fall. Imagine artists, historians, and writers ensnared by its mysteries, transforming them into a canvas upon which myriad interpretations unfold, each adding a new layer to the age-old narrative. Picture the overgrown ruins, not just through the eyes of archaeologists but through the lens of poets and creators who have reimagined Knossos in ways that captivate and enthrall. The vibrant murals of Minoan frescoes inspire artistic reinterpretations, where modern brushstrokes seek to capture the vivacity and spirit that once brought the palace to life. Authors draw upon the legends birthed in these very hall-stales of labyrinths and minotaurs, of powerful women and divine encounters-crafting narratives that weave historical fragments with imaginative embellishments. A valid historical perspective grounds this fascination. With the discovery of Knossos by Sir Arthur Evans in the early 20th century, the resurgence of interest in Minoan culture swept through the Western world, reigniting passions for its enigmatic past. This revival prompted both academic study and artistic exploration, each feeding into the other, threading more narratives into the age-old tapestry. There's a quirky tidbit that speaks to this effusion of creative energy. Modern dance companies have performed interpretative pieces inspired by Minoan rituals, each movement an homage to the artistic depictions found on frescoes. Costumed with vibrant flair, these dancers mimic the ceremonial and the quotidian, reviving the rhythm that once beat strongly in the heart of Knossos. Such expressions turn stone and silence into a stage where history's pages come alive in dance. Yet, historians continue to debate the authenticity of popular interpretations, considering whether modern renditions distance us from the original culture or bring us closer by igniting collective curiosity. Is our quest for understanding complicit in shaping a narrative that may diverge from historical accuracy? Such questions invite reflection on how we balance fidelity to history with the desire to craft engaging, relatable narratives. Imagine standing amidst art installations inspired by ancient motifs, each modern interpretation tethered tenuously to its historical root. The artists, like their counterparts from ages past, capture something timeless in essence that transcends stone and pigment, merging the aesthetic sensibilities of the past with contemporary forms. These creative reimaginings compel us to look beyond the ruin, to see a vibrantly alive Minoan spirit relational to our own time. As twilight cloaks Knossos, its storied stones whispered anew by the bold expressions of artists and writers who found inspiration here, you sense art breathing life into the shadows. During these moments, history seems less a distant story and more a living conversation, with each generation drawing forth lessons and beauty from its depths. As night deepens, let these reinterpretations guide you into a reflective, restful state. Picture the palace adorned with modern imaginations, new stories weaving through ancient memory, producing a soothing tapestry of intrigue and invitation. As you close your eyes, let yourself surrender to the timeless cradle of artistic expression, where history converses with the present, leading you gently into the realm of dreams. With the resonance of Knossos' narrative presence keeping you company, drift into the quiet embrace of sleep. Let the musings of creative minds merge with your subconscious, their shared journeys shaping vistas anew, within dreams colored by both past wonder and present storytelling. Encapsulated by the soothing echoes of modern imaginings, allow yourself to softly descend into a tranquil sleep, where the legends of Knossos enrich the night with whispered promise. As you continue to meander through the hallowed halls of Knossos, the whispers of potential and promise beckon. The palace, in its ruinous majesty, stands as both monument and mystery, a grand enterprise that speaks to visions unfulfilled and ambitions paused in time. Imagine the architects and craftsmen, their minds alight with plans as they sought to build a legacy, only to leave behind a puzzle of unfinished intentions and unrealized dreams. Envision the gleam of bronze tools catching the early morning light as workers set about their tasks, shaping stone and timber with meticulous care. Despite its completion seeming so close at hand, Knossos captivates with its glimpses of what could have been a sprawling tapestry of architectural brilliance interrupted, and therein lies the allure. The sections left undone, rooms awaiting decoration, pathways leading to mysteries unexplored. A mainstream historical theory suggests that the palace, constantly reshaped over time, was in a perpetual state of evolution, with each generation adding their own flourish to the complex. This historical fact hints at a culture that prized innovation and adaptability, unafraid to redefine itself continually and harmoniously over the centuries, yet failing to foresee the abrupt cessation of its ascent. There exists a quirky tidbit among these tales of incompletion: the enigmatic staircases to nowhere, sections of stairs suddenly halting, leaving idle speculation in their wake. These orphaned constructs tease the imagination, inviting conjecture about their intended destination. Were they set to ascend to divine chambers or hidden retreats, overtaken by history before their purpose could unfold? Their potential paths remain tantalizingly open, a historical riddle that continues to invite scholarly discourse. Historians still argue whether Knossos was unfinished due to a sudden calamity, a shift in political priorities, or the natural ebb and flow of resources pulling energies elsewhere. Did nature interrupt progress, or did the intricate dance of power and conflict quietly still the hammer's swing and artist's brush? These questions remain nestled within the stone, awaiting discovery by those who wander here. Among the unfinished nooks and unadorned chambers lies an invitation to imagine possibilities, to see within those spaces the vitality they once promised to house. Visualize a banquet hall filled with revelries or an unfinished mural poised to capture the vibrancy of life. These shadows of dreams reshape ancient aspirations, engaging you to envisage their near completion and the lives they intended to enhance. As daylight withdraws, painting the unfinished facades in amber hues, Knossos whispers an enduring message and invitation to find beauty in the potential of possibilities unfulfilled. As you walk through these dormant spaces, allow yourself to dream not just of what was, but of what might have been, inspiring reflections on the beauty inherent in journeys themselves, irrespective of their destinations. As night gently unfurls its cloak over Knossos, let the palace's stories of potential beckon you into a tranquil slumber. Rest within the halls of what could have been, and let your imagination roam free, filling the gaps with gentle musings of creativity and hope. The endings unknown and chapters incomplete are not mere absences. They are a legacy of opportunities forever ready to inspire new dreams. Sink into a peaceful refuge where the solace of mystery wraps you in its quiet embrace. Allow the unfinished pathways and silent architectures to guide your thoughts into restful calm. Let the gentle hum of history's possibilities gently cradle your mind as you drift into the night, where the dreams of Knossos await, inviting the narratives that only you can bring to life in serene repose. As you gently tread through the majestic ruins of Knossos, the stones beneath your feet whisper timeless lessons of rise and fall, encapsulating the enduring truths of civilizations long past. Here, amidst the once vibrant frescoes and the remnants of regal halls, you are reminded that all human endeavors, no matter how grand, are subject to the ebb and flow of time's inexorable tide. Imagine the wisdom embedded within these weathered walls, the silent counsel they offer to those who walk their paths in contemplation. Take a moment to ponder the civilization that flourished here: the Minoans, masters of trade and diplomacy, innovators of art and architecture. Picture the bustling life that once filled these spaces, the vibrant tapestry of voices, colors, and cultures interwoven with the threads of ambition and creativity. Their rise was meteoric, a stunning testament to human ingenuity and resilience, but it also serves as a humbling reminder of the impermanence that shadows all empires. A historical fact settles the intricacies of this reflection. The Minoans, at their zenith, developed an advanced society characterized by elaborate palaces and intricate infrastructures, suggesting a community that valued both functionality and beauty. Yet despite this mastery, Knossos fell, its brilliant flame dimmed by the forces of nature and the changing currents of human affairs. The story of Knossos is a mosaic of triumph and tragedy, each piece a cautionary tale entwined with a celebration of its achievements. Amidst this solemn contemplation, embrace a quirky tidbite in the walls of Knossos, vibrant depictions of marine life, leaping dolphins, and teeming fish rejoice in the splendor of nature's bounty. These flourishes reveal a society keenly attuned to its environment, forever curious, and perpetually striving to understand and celebrate the world around them. Even in the face of decline, such zest for life remains etched in stone, both a eulogy and an enduring legacy. Historians still argue on the delicate balance between the internal and external factors that led to Knossos' downfall. Was it the dual specter of natural disasters alongside shifting political landscapes, or did the Minoans reach a zenith beyond their capacity to sustain? This tapestry of theories guides us to consider broader truths about the life cycles of civilizations, urging introspection on how we might learn from the past to shape a more balanced and sustainable future. As the sun dips low, casting long shadows across the weathered stones of Knossos, you feel the weight of history's perennial question, a lesson on the imperfection and promise bound within every human endeavor. The ruins become a text of endurance, each ruined column a paragraph, each fragmented fresco a sentence beckoning readers to interpret its meanings. Allow these timeless reflections to accompany you into the evening's embrace, where the whispering winds weave lessons of wonder and caution into the fabric of your dreams. In the solace of time's gentle continuum, find a sanctuary where past lessons shape future visions, and where the echoes of Knossos remind you to cherish each moment of creation and contemplation. As night deepens, relax into stillness, cradled by echoes of Minoan wisdom, and let the lessons rise and fall like gentle waves upon the shore. Drift softly into dreams where the silence of the ruins channels the whispered truths of history. And within this quiet repose, allow visions of a world molded by lessons learned and dreams reborn. Safe within the gentle embrace of Knossos' enduring legacy, succumb to sleep, assured that the echoes of the past will guide you to a promising dawn. As you take your final footsteps through the stone corridors of Knossos, the night fully embraces the ancient palace, casting its protective darkness like a blanket over centuries of stories and secrets. This is a place where time and history conspire to create a space that is both eternal and evanescent, an abode of whispers that invite you to listen closely, just one last time, before slipping into the tranquility of sleep. The palace, with its courtyards now wrapped in starlight, silently recounts tales of those who once dwelled, men and women, whose lives were marked by festivity and ritual, toil and triumph. Imagine the gentle breeze brushing against your cheek, carrying with it the sense of old growth as the echoes begin to fade, leaving only the peace that follows a well-told tale. Each stone, so carefully placed, seems to murmur its own quiet farewell. A world where the past and present entwine, Knossos continues to inspire reflection. The lessons imparted here are an ever-present reminder of the ingenuity and resilience of those who have walked this earth before us. From the grandeur of their architectural vision to the mysteries woven into their daily lives, the Minoans have left an indelible mark upon the sands of Timea Testament to both the beauty and fragility inherent in human endeavor. Embrace one last curious morsel, a nod to the quirks of history. Among the timeless stones and spirited mosaics lies an intricately carved dolphin, frozen mid-leap, capturing the joy of life's simple, playful moments. It's a delightful reminder that even amidst monumental exploration and profound artistry, joy was ever present, a treasured facet of life in Knossos. Historians still argue whether the ultimate demise of Knossos was a moment of immediate upheaval or a gradual transformation that left behind the engaging puzzle we know today. This narrative of unknowns ensures that the palace remains not just a ruin, but a living dialogue between past and future, sparking curiosity and kindling the exploratory spirit in every visitor and dreamer. Allow the evening's embrace to gently ease you into a serene calm as you reflect on these whispered echoes from the past. Picture yourself reclining in the soft glow of moonlight that bathes the palace, every shadow and silhouette a reminder of stories inherently linked across time's vast expanse. In the peaceful sanctuary of the night, let the quiet of Knossos lull you into a warm sense of safety, where dreams float gently upon the currents of quietude. Tenderly wrap yourself in the enduring tales of mystery and ancient life, allowing history's cradle to rock you into dream-filled slumber. As rest takes hold, yield to a comforting calm, enriched with the collective wisdom and wonder the palace has shared. In this restful realm, may the whispered songs of the Minoan past guide you into the compelling embrace of dreams, forging a connection between the echoes of history and the quiet promise of tomorrow. Sweet dreams.